All right, here he is. We'll measure him against the drawing. We're pretty well on track, so that's good. And let's see, down here, I talked with my client and he wants flat soles. So there'll be plenty of room for the screw to go up into the copies that we make of this. And so now I just need to use a brush, use my orange goop, and just really smooth out these shoes. I've just kind of drawn in where the heel would be, and then I'll continue to draw another little mark for the soles right here. And a ball stylus is an excellent tool, just a tiny one. Or you can also use your flat metal tool. This one will work really well also. And then I need to smooth out his legs so they look completely separate from the shoes. And then I need to do the buckles. And again, the flat metal tool is great for this. So you're just gonna press in a buckle shape like this. Just kind of draw it in there. And of course, I'll refine it a bit when it's right in front of my face, but that's the idea. And that's all we need to do to these shoes. I'll show them to you once I get them all brushed out with my little brushes, but I'll be using a little filbert and a bigger filbert and the orange smoothing gel. Okay, I'll tell you some more details on the feet, but first I wanted to show you how I baked this with a heat gun. I needed him to be standing so he's not like leaning forward or leaning back, so standing flat, and so I just did it on this piece of cardboard with him standing up and then used the heat gun to bake it in this position. Okay, so one tool I really like is it's like a carpet needle tool or just some darning needle or something, I'm not sure what it was, but just a needle, and I took some epoxy sculpt and made a handle for it, and so I use this one quite a bit. And it's really good for like making these lines here, and especially going in right there, making the different shapes, the squares for the buckle. You can also use a stylus for this, but this tool just happened to come in handy. And since I had it, you do the sole like that. Pretty much it's just a matter of going over it and over it. And then finally once I had it almost done, I just did one shoe, looked at all the lines, made sure they were all clear, and then went on to the other shoe and did that. So that's how he's looking, and he's going to stand up straight. I can add more clay to the bottom if I need to, but that's going to be great for now for the boots. Okay, so here's how his shoes turned out, and he stuck just a little bit to the cardboard, and what I did is I just took one of these straight razor blades and just kind of slid it underneath him to help him come off with a little piece of cardboard. But now I'm going to take a break, and so what I did is I just washed him really well in water, and I even took just a clean paintbrush and just kind of scrubbed at these parts because there was some extra dust left over from the last sanding. It was giving him that chalky look, and so I just kind of scrubbed all that away. So he'll be ready to sculpt on again in a little bit. I want to make some adjustments to his jacket, fix this little crack area, and then fix the back. And then the body will be done. That's awesome. All right, so the next step is to fix this back of his coat. And I'm just going to use some of the Sculpey Bacon Bond, put a little bit here, and then put a layer of clay over it, and then just smooth it out, and then make sure that this bottom is nice and smooth and straight. And then I'm going to do the same thing up here where there's a little bit of a crack and it kind of sunk in a little bit. Kind of just fill that in, smooth it out, and then sculpt in my little lines for the creases by the buttons again. Here it is with a Bacon Bond, and I was sure to get some on this very bottom so I can bring the clay under and have it stick well. Now I'll just put some clay in place. I'm using about a marble size ball. I'm not sure if it's going to be the right amount or not, but we'll just add it and take away whatever we need to. Alright, and now I'll just feather out all these edges. To feather it out, I just use my wooden tool. Can I just drag and pull it out And then I take a little bit of the orange smoothing gel. I just have it on my thumb, really. I'm just going to kind of rub it. See how that just smooths it out? I'll do that to the rest of this. Alright, so here it is looking pretty rough. I added a bigger patch than I thought. I just kind of kept adding to it till it looked how I wanted it to. And then I'm going to use baby oil for this smoothing, just because I want it to get really smooth. But you see how it just really dissolves the clay right away. Yeah. So you just want to be careful with it. But I don't mind it on something like this, where you just are really trying to smooth that soft clay into the hard clay. So I'll just keep rubbing at it. I'm just kind of keeping the amount I add minimal. You see, at the bottom I kind of added a little bit too much. That's getting really gooey. So now I'll wipe that off a bit too. And then just go back to the orange smoothing gel. I want to smooth away the line. I can sand what else I need to, but this is pretty close. So that looks better. Looks like down here needs it a little bit more. And then I just need to fix this top part. And what I'm going to do is use my heat gun and zap this so I don't end up damaging it when I'm working on the front. Alright, so there's how the back looks after it's just been soft baked with the heat gun, just so there's kind of a skin on it. And now I put a little bit of the Sculpting Bacon Bond here on the front. And I'm just going to add a little piece of clay and smooth it in, and then resculpt that front bit. I'm not sure how much it's going to take. That might be too much, but I can probably just spread it all in. So I just smooth it down, feather it out just like I did on the back. And then I can use a brush to smooth this, and my thumbs a little bit. Now I need to use the smoothing gel. Alright, so I just used my metal sculpting tool to draw in those little creases, and then I went up the middle to make sure we had a nice defined opening. And then I'm just going to go over these creases just with a brush a little bit to soften them. And there we go. Last but not least, I made this little pocket. It goes on the side here, and how I did it is I put a little dab of the Bacon Bond underneath it. I molded a piece of clay that was off of the pattern that's kind of thicker, and then I rolled out a sheet of this size of clay. It's probably, I don't know, thickness 4 or 5 on the pasta machine. And then I used that little pattern to cut out the pocket. And then I pressed it in place. And then I used my tool here, the flat metal tool, to draw in the seam lines. And then I cut out 3 little buttons by making the little balls and then pressing them on. And then going over the top with a ball stylus. And then I put a little bit of orange goop on it and just kind of brushed it around, kind of make it look more like material. Then I'll just repeat that for the other side. Alright, so here I have both pockets in place, and I fixed this top part, so I'm going to stick this back in the oven and bake it for another half an hour.